So I wanted to kick it off with a personal story. About 2 weeks ago, I was sitting in this exact spot in my apartment, downtown San Diego, around 10:30 p.m. To my left, I have a clear view of the street and had my patio door open. All of a sudden, I heard 4 gunshots, really loud, really distinct. I poked my head out to see what's going on. Probably shouldn't have, but I saw people just kind of running in every direction. About 30 seconds later, I saw a man yelling and waving a gun around. So I kind of stepped away from the door just in case he looked up and saw me. Then about 30 seconds later, I heard 2 more gunshots. And then later I found out he shot and killed an innocent valet driver, unprovoked, and wounded five people. So the reason I tell that story is because it illustrates how important situational awareness is. My name is Pete DiSalvo, co-founder and co-CEO of DataCapable. And in this portion of the presentation, you'll learn more about how actionable intelligence and situational awareness can help your organization prepare and respond to threats faster. "2020 was a record-breaking year, even without COVID. 6 of the largest wildfires in California history happened. Hurricane season in the US, a record with 30 named storms. It was the warmest year on record worldwide, but it was also record-breaking cold in the US with winter storms. 2020 also set a record in cybersecurity data breaches with the highest total number of exposed records ever. On top of all that, it was the deadliest year in US history. So obviously everybody was impacted by COVID, but I'm wondering, and I'm gonna drop a poll in here, were you personally impacted by any of these situations like tropical storms, wildfires, hurricanes, record heat, record cold? Yes, no, maybe you can't remember. It was a long, crazy year. So yeah, about 50-50. But this record-breaking year presented a lot of challenges for emergency managers. There's an increase in workload due to all the data and situations, which becomes overwhelming. On top of that, teams are now smaller because of COVID-related budget cuts. So there's more to do with smaller teams and smaller budgets. Interpreting threats has become more difficult. It's just a lot of information, which causes a lack of clarity. There's a lot of false information, unverified, irrelevant, conflicting. It's hard to know what's really happening, so you can take decisive action. Incident boundaries and locations might change over time. It's not always easy to tell the severity of the situation right away. And when I heard those gunshots, I didn't realize he actually killed somebody till after. So it's really hard to tell initially, even if you're there on the spot. Sometimes key information is totally missing. And then if there's too many alerts, some critical situations might go unnoticed. And then finally, application interfaces might not be intuitive, which can cause more confusion. Of course, the data-capable UI is not confusing, and Esri does a great job as well, but that can be a challenge. So I present to you real-time threat mapping, which solves all your problems, right? I'm totally kidding, but if real-time threat mapping is done well, it will definitely help. And I want to drop another poll in the chat here. Do you trust artificial intelligence? Yes, no, it depends, or I would never. Man, I think really the perspective is it depends. And if it's done well and you understand it, you can trust it. So artificial intelligence plays a huge part in alleviating some of those challenges I mentioned earlier. It can handle that tedious nature of filtering data, allowing managers to focus on what's important to them. It can process thousands of data points a second without missing anything, can detect patterns in large amounts of data that might not be obvious to the human eye. And then it also can keep the cost down because it's always running 24/7. And instead of calling it data-capable artificial intelligence, at DataCapable, we apply our own intelligence, and we've developed a few patented algorithms over the years to help identify actionable intelligence in real time from unstructured data. And I like to show this off every chance I have, but got an actual plaque for our patent. Some of the algorithms that we've created are geolocation, that derives an estimated location using plain text and other metadata so we can drop pins on maps. We've got a event detection algorithm that incorporates location while filtering out noise and other irrelevant data and groups things together logically based on locations and topics. So then we get an event package right on an Esri map. But not all events require location, like cyber threats. So we've got another algorithm detects events, but more based on topics of conversations derived from the data. We'll come back to this in a minute, but AI is only as good as the data that's used to train it. So over the last 7 years, we've overcome a lot of engineering challenges to get where we are today. And I think something that is a hot topic these days is mitigating algorithm bias. So we ensure that the training data sets aren't skewed towards any gender, race, or religion. We're continually improving the algorithms. They're continually learning and getting better. One of our areas of expertise is power outages. So keeping that outage data in sync with outage management systems has been a challenge over the years. And I think for any software as a service company like DataCapable, managing tech debt is always top of mind. So we're always using the latest and greatest versions of libraries and identifying and improving performance bottlenecks by scaling vertically and horizontally. Some other challenges that aren't necessarily engineering related are sending the right alerts to the right people at the right time. So we've learned a lot over the years and have been able to fine tune that, but depending on the event, depending on who's receiving it, you may not want to send an event notification in the middle of the night. Verifying incident information is accurate and correct could be a challenge. Accurately geolocating it, where is it actually happening? Finding these significant events as soon as they happen. When I saw the active shooter here, I wasn't thinking about posting it online somewhere. So we found other mechanisms to find these events that are happening. And then knowing when the events are officially resolved. So you might be wondering why Bruce Willis and Die Hard and Nakatomi Plaza are in my presentation, but it's kind of a funny story. Even with large relevant data sets to train our algorithms with high quality data labeling, AI doesn't always get it right. We first launched our active shooter and explosion algorithms a few years ago, and it wasn't long before Christmas. And if you've ever seen the movie Die Hard, you're familiar with this Nakatomi Plaza Christmas party and all the action that went down. This was in 1988, but if you haven't seen it yet, I still won't spoil it for you. But it wasn't long before we realized that our algorithms didn't understand that a tweet saying there's a shooting at hashtag Nakatomi Plaza was a joke. And we had another problem on our hands. So our solution to that, and one of our differentiators, is algorithms and train analysts in perfect harmony. Instead of teaching our algorithms how to have a sense of humor, we pulled together a team of trained analysts that work in tandem with the algorithms. The analysts are able to apply judgment based on context that the AI just doesn't understand. AI handles the repetitive, tedious nature of filtering data, letting the analysts focus on what's important and what requires self-awareness and consciousness. But the power of AI and trained analysts enables actionable intelligence and accurate situational awareness, which is why we're all here today. When you can trust these alerts for risks and threats are verified, relevant, and accurate, you can effectively identify risks and threats and see where they're happening, analyze and understand the impact to you, take action by maybe evacuating employees, sending crews and first responders, or maybe closing down streets to keep people safe. And finally, share and report information, maybe to debrief leadership or share with other organizations that need to know. So again, my name is Pete DiSalvo, co-founder and co-CEO of DataCapable. Reach out to me with any questions. Go to our website, read some of our case studies, request a demo. We'll drop some links here for you in the chat. And at that point, I'll ask Adam Narkowitz to come back and we'll answer any questions you guys might have.